Mm. That is delicious. Wow. Mm. Wow. Folks, this morning, Heavenly Horizon. You know, when I was putting some things together for or Monday morning coffee, I was trying to figure out how can I really convey this in a way that everybody gets it. And as you know, we here on at the Essence of Travel and Discoveries and Heartlight Books and Kmart Media, we don't necessarily get involved with political debates. And even for this case, we're not going to get into a political banging of heads. But we do have some things we want to tell you about. And if you look in the description, and by the way, too, if you wouldn't mind hitting the subscribe button, we may gain followers, we may lose followers for this. Be honest with you, at this point, we only have one person to please, and that is God. That's it. People, you can choose whatever religion you want. You can choose not to have any religion. You can choose to be a Christian or you can choose not to be a Christian. At the end of the day, it's also being a human being. And we're watching in, we try not to watch the news, but face it, this here, it's just, no matter how much you try to take off of there and try to stay neutral, we are bombarded all the time with news. And in that news, it's never good. News stands for never, not ever worth seeing, or something like that. I think I heard or I mentioned a long time ago. And it's just not worth your time. However, because the world that we live in with technology and everything else, we're constantly surrounded by news and media and sources and stuff. I mean, even on your Ring camera, we get it here too. I had to shut my Ring camera off because the notifications of people with the most ridiculous stuff is incredible. What has happened to this world? Everybody is just doing what they want to do. Everybody is fighting. It's getting worse. There is very little kindness. You're watching it go like this at a rapid rate. It almost reminds me as when you take those sand timers and it's full on one side, you flip it over and you watch the sand go down. That's how quick kindness goes. It's also as quick as time goes. And people are spending more time arguing and fighting and bickering and how they can jockey for position. You can never get to the top. So why are you jockeying for position? People kill me because when they are the most I'm gonna go on a tangent here, and I know my producer said, "Well, do what you gotta do because today is a day that we're just gonna just lay it all out." So, when you watch people drive, did you know a statistic is it shows that driving is the number one selfish act someone can do on a day-to-day basis that always, always, always tries to exceed logistical challenges. Now you're like, "Wow, Tony, what the heck is that?" Think about it for a second. If you come up to a two-lane highway and there's two cars in this lane and no cars in this lane, well, you're going to go over there because you want to be first. You come up to a two-lane highway and one's going to merge into the other. You'll get to that one first to go ahead of that car. Spend that fraction of a second going through the red light. When you see damn well it's turning yellow and it's going to turn red. Nope, go right through it. And in so many cases, they go right through it. Nobody lets anybody out. That's a rarity. It's almost unheard of now. people beeping the horns, giving the finger, road rage, and everything else. Like that particular moment is going to make this huge, y- monumental change in their life. Come on. Really? Really? People are finding their ways out of church as opposed to finding their ways to get into church. Now you say, "Well, church, I'm not a church person." Listen, excuse me. Church isn't people Bible beating. It's not, they're not going to sacrifice a chicken at the altar. It's a place for community and peace. It's a way to escape all this, and everything else. Sorry, my phone's falling off. Everything else around us, you get to escape. You get to escape, and you know, God is God's asked you for one day, and church is typically an hour. But there's folks, even in our own church, that would much rather stay home from church for a football game. So here, our church service is 8:30 in the morning, so it takes you to about 9:30, quarter to 10. The game's not till 1 o'clock. Hmm. What are you doing in those hours? That's a long time. What are we at? Is it 3.5, 4 hours or whatever it is? You mean to tell me you can't get your rear end into church and that football is more important? People when they're jockeying for position, they're choosing sports over church, and the most simplest thing. So you got all week for everything else, but he's asked for 1 hour. 1 hour on one day, and people can't even commit to that. Then how do you expect him to answer your prayers as if you don't give him the praise? I mean, do you kind of wonder, geez, why my life is so messed up? Well, duh. Start praying. It's an hour. An hour. What really gets me is when the games are at 4 and in the evening and people still don't come to church. They have to mentally prepare. Prepare for what? You're not playing the game. And if the result of the game dictates how your day is going to go the next day or the rest of that day or your incredible week, then you need to see a doctor because that is absolutely, positively the most pathetic thing I've ever heard of. And again, am I going to lose followers? Whatever. I hope not. I hope this brings people to Christ. I hope this brings people to the Bible. But it is really absolutely imperative that we stick together as a community, that we find common ground, we find faith, no matter what religion you are. Everybody, if you have faith, you're a Christian, you know, because you know what? Here's an interesting for you. I would much rather follow Christ down here and follow the Bible the best that I possibly can and try to please him every which way I possibly can when it comes to my faith and being involved. And then go up there and find out, okay, maybe there's not a heaven, but at least I lived a decent life here. Or to do zero down here, fight, argue, bicker, drink, smoke pot, and everything else, and then go up there, find out there is a heaven, and all the stuff that was being said down here was actually true. Then you sit there and go, "No, it's not a gamble you want to take." Les Brown says it best. It's better to be prepared for an opportunity and one not come than have an opportunity come and not be prepared. People really, really need to start thinking, really start need to thinking hard. With all the turmoil and everything, look at I'm not trying to control your beliefs. What I'm trying to do is bring you to peace. What your beliefs are, those are your beliefs. I'm not here to change you, whether you're pro life or not. I'm not here to get into the Supreme Court decisions and this and all this stuff. I don't care about that. My care is that you come together in Christ and we unite together in faith. People keep looking as God the devil. Why don't you look at the devil as the devil? Why don't you look at all the evil that's going around in this world? Well, then people say, well, if God is so great, then why is he allowing this to happen? God's not allowing this to happen. He's given us free will to do what we want to do here in the hopes that you will go to him and thank him and praise him and worship him and follow him and try to live the best life possible, not to sit there and fight. And then when bad things do happen, he wants you to come to him. There's a lot of bad things that happen. I've had a lot of bad things happen to me. A lot of bad things in my life. The stuff that I've witnessed, the stuff that I've been part of, um, a business that I was, I don't want to call it a dream, but close to it. Watch it shatter before our very eyes because of the devil. And our place was faith based. We were a faith based company. We still are now, but back then, financial turmoil, almost financial ruin. We never gave up. In fact, we even prayed harder. Because look, you were born into this world naked. There was no, you didn't take no possessions from heaven down here. Just as much as when you leave here, you will leave naked and you will leave with no possessions. So, what is the purpose of gaining possessions and jockeying for position, all this stuff? What is that going to do? Some people say, well, I'm going to live a better life. No, you won't. No, you won't. Because people that are materialistic like that, people that are stubborn, like that, people don't want to talk to you. They don't. They could care less, and why? Like bullying and all this stuff. Why do we do that? So we can feel good about ourselves? I mean, come on. How pathetic do you sound when you say crap like that? Ah, I told you this was going to be a session here, this Monday morning coffee to you know grab a cup and hold on because we are just in a mood today because we're watching this world crumble and for no reason whatsoever. I've never, ever, and in my entire 55 plus years, have ever seen this country and this world ever in the shape it's in today. Again, I'm not here to go on anybody's specific side of politics, so don't even bring it into the mix. The point is, everybody is to blame. Everybody. Everybody has a part. There's nobody that's squeaky clean here. I even have my part. But what I try to do is I try to put my eyes and nose into the Bible to find the solace. It's an instruction manual. Everybody's so wow. What's the secrets of the universe? Are you serious? It's right here. It's right here. People are choosing to ignore it. It's the most obvious thing in the world. Right here. But so many people will trip over a dime to pick up a nickel. It's sad. It's truly sad. And we want to help as much as possible. And we're trying our best to get the word out there. Again, we're not here to Bible beat you in the head. We're not here convert you as you think, or it's a cult. Really? Again, if someone says that, let's take a look at that person's past. Is it that successful that that's a path you want to follow? If so, go right ahead. And then in 5 years, let's come back to that and let's see where you're at. Because if you look over a course of time, that person or persons that you're following that do not have anything more than they already have or have less, good indication is they didn't have it to start with or lost whatever they did have because the fact is they are lost and they don't want to admit it because they're stubborn. Oh, I draw my line in the sand. You know, as a kid, when somebody was stubborn, we we almost kinda looked up to that person like, "Ooh, you're you're tough," there's almost like an authoritative type action there. Then over the years, as you get older, you realize, "My gosh, what an ass that person is or was or they're becoming." We point out, not just myself, but so many of us point out the obvious, and people just don't care. They wanna dress stupid. They wanna look stupid because it gets them attention. Well, there's other things you need to focus in on besides just yourself. You know, a lot of everybody's problems come from the fact is they don't think there's anything out there to help them. Well, I'm here to tell you there is. It's right here. It's right here. You don't have to read it cover to cover. My gosh, you don't have to go to church and I mean you should go to church, but I'm saying you don't have to go to church and think, well, my gosh, they're going to sacrifice a chicken or a pig at the altar. Oh, I'm in a cult. Really? No. Have you ever actually gone to church? It's amazing. The ones that are speaking negatively of the church are the ones that drink, smoke pot, do drugs, got nothing better to do. Most likely are probably unemployed. Or if they're employed, they're not happy at their job, probably not happy in a relationship. And when things are tough for folks, and it's tough for all kinds of people. I mean, I don't have it easy either. But at the same time, I look to God for help. And even if it's just for that moment, calm is brought. I'm relaxed. I'm re-energized, but I'm relaxed. And then I know I can continue my day. But folks experiencing those problems, those issues, or substance abuse and everything else, that's a tough thing. It's not easy. But they're lost. They're lost because they don't nothing they're doing's working. Lean on God. I'm telling you. There's nobody in this realm of who I know. I mean, could be somebody in this world that maybe was, is, or going to be, whatever. But nobody that I personally know ever was so against their faith than myself. There was a time I hated God. I would threaten him, "Come on down. Let's fight. Imano, imano." And I just felt that hug get that much tighter. And that the harder I fought, the tighter the hug. And it took years for me to get through that. But once I started leaning on my faith and just said, I can't do this anymore, my life became so much better. It really did. Are there still challenges, bills and backaches? Of course. But I'm not asking God for ridiculous stuff. I'm not asking to win the lottery. I'm not asking to be a multimillionaire. I'm just asking to be loved and to help show me the way. And then whatever way that you show me, help me grow in that way. That's all. And guess what? Pretty much my wife will tell you every time I pray for something, say if I'm asking for a sign, it happened the other day. I just posted on Facebook. I wouldn't say there was doubt, but doubt of this world. In that I felt the connection of God becoming a little bit distant. And that's typical of anybody who is growing in their faith. You start having a little doubt, but you know what came back to me? A cross on the building. I'm gonna see if I can bring this up here. Hold on a second. Let me while we're talking about it. And it's something that I was awestruck because I no sooner asked for it, and here it came. So I'm gonna just let me just send this because it was on my phone. So forgive me a second. Let me just get this ready here. And this is from my house, or from my our apartment, and it's amazing how soon as I ask for that, I get my answer. So let me see if I can bring this up here. Hold on one second. My apologies. Oops, come on. Sorry. I had to email it to myself to bring it up. So, all right, let me see if I can bring this up here. Um, okay, let me see if I can let's see, share a screen. Bear with me just a second, please, if you don't mind. Okay. Look at that right there. It brings tears to my eyes. Folks, I'm not telling you this to hear myself talk. I do enough of that. I tell you these things because God's there. You just really have to open up your mind. Let him work. And then when you ask for a sign, this is what you get. Sorry, my mouse is all over the place. If you look here slightly, by the way, too, the other sign was this, and I didn't get a picture of as it was progressing, I think, because I was focused on the cross. But this here, that shadow right there, it turned out to be a heart. You can see where it started. So then when as the sun was going down, my wife and I were leaving for dinner, and we go to pull out, and I was trying to find out where was all this coming from. There's nothing there. There's nothing on the other side that we could put together that is um, the reason for the sign, or the signs, I should say. How does one not think for 1 minute that God's not at work? The thing is, we're making it, I don't want to say difficult for him because nothing's difficult, but we're making things challenging because people down here in this world are just, they're born into a world of sin, so they keep creating it. And it's almost like they feel as though, okay, well, if I'm born into a world of sin, I might as well live in it. Can't beat them, join them type thing. Why? Why do that? I don't know. Anyways, I kind of rambled on. I was gonna give us about 5 more minutes. It'll put a whole half hour on this coffee segment. But you know, what are some of the things that bother you? Again, if I gain subscribers and followers, great. If I lose them, oh well. I mean, I don't know what else to tell you, but I just know this world is coming. Um, I don't want to say to an end because it's not coming to an end. People think, oh, the world's going to come to an end. It's going to explode. No, that's not what's going to happen. Um, and you could follow all the doctrines of Nostradamus and all this stuff, and you could see where all this stuff, and it's always amazing how um, all these things come out and talk about predictions that were made and how they came true. Well, okay, maybe there's some of that. But you notice though, we're always getting it after the fact. Nostradamus predicted the third Antichrist to come, predicts a nuclear war, predicts all this stuff. Is he wrong? Nothing's happened yet, but it's leading up to that. You know what's killing this world? Greed, power, selfishness. Folks, please, please hug your family, keep them close and safe, and find a way to get into church. Even just start reading the Bible. Just grab one. They're not that expensive. If you can't afford one, let me know. I'll send you one because it is that imperative that you get these Bibles in your hand and start seeing what God has in store for us. The book, the Bible had been written over, you know, thousands and thousands and thousands of years ago. And yet it's still a book that we choose to look at it as it's just a book. When in essence, it's given us our basic instruction before leaving Earth, and that's what Bible stands for. Basic instruction before leaving Earth. People say, "Oh, I'm going to hell." Well, if you keep thinking that way, you probably will. Get your head out of your rear end, start thinking more positively, and say, "You know what? I'm going to make sure that I don't go to hell, and I'm going to make sure because I'm going to start being more faithful, kinder, calmer, more open-minded." You know, sit here. I don't know if you can hear the vehicles, but we're pretty close to a state highway, and I got the windows open right now because it's such a beautiful day. And I wanted to have the windows open so I can grab some of that fresh air. And in the background, what do you hear? And I know it's guys doing this. They pull up to the intersection, revving their motor, and then they take off as though they're a race car driver, like a Mario Andretti. Like you're gonna win some prize. No, you're gonna win yourself a ticket, or God forbid you get in an accident. I just want to tell those folks. Nobody is impressed with how fast you drive and how you gotta rev your motor to show, look how cool I am. No, you're not. You're not cool. Start acting your age, start acting appropriately because people don't understand is that when you do that, it affects everyone around you. Your moment of feeling good for that 30 seconds of you think is fame, it's not. So I kind of went off on a tangent about that just because it's something that I just find so amusing that you hear the motorcycles race up and down here. You hear there's not a day that goes by, there's not an accident. And you can hear people locking up because the light's right there. They're trying to run the red light. Crazy. But anyways, so folks, if you want to share some of your stuff, feel free to email me, info@travelanddiscoveries.com. Feel free to reach out to me, 716-288-6775. Uh, or just put the comments below. I'm saddened today, but I'm also hopeful. And you wonder, why are you saddened? I'm saddened to see how this world is self imploding and how people that are genuinely kind and loving and everything else hate so much. Why? So, folks, enjoy your day. I hope you have the most blessed day, and I look forward to seeing you real soon. Your journey starts here. Take care. We'll see you next time on the Essence of Travel and Discoveries, where you and I get to explore the places you want to go. Enjoy your day.